Ears think you know East Germany. Bet most of it's half-remembered school stuff and old docs. The GDR wasn't just behind a wall. It was a real-life Truman Show of fear, hope, and silence. What you think you know barely scratches the surface. Ever get that feeling you should know what really went down in East Germany? But the more you think about it, the more you realize your knowledge is just scraps from school and old documentaries. The GDR wasn't just a communist country behind a wall. It was almost like a real-life Truman Show built on fear, hope, and silence. Here's the thing, the stuff you think you know, that's usually only scratching the surface. The deeper truth is darker, stranger, and way more human than most people realize. So if you're already asking yourself, did I ever really get this? Strap in. The world behind the Berlin Wall was a maze few today truly understand. Post-World War II chaos. Germany didn't split overnight. Ruins, hunger, 4 armies claiming land, ordinary people lost while leaders drew maps far away. Imagine that today. Would you even notice until it's too late? Textbooks make it sound like Germany split overnight. One day it's rubble, next day, bam, 2 countries. But the reality was messy. The nation was starving, scared, and crawling with 4 armies who weren't rebuilding. They were claiming territory. Ordinary people woke up to foreign soldiers patrolling their streets, while faraway leaders drew lines on maps deciding their future. Makes you wonder, if a country split like that today, would anyone even notice until it was too late? Birth of the GDR. The GDR wasn't born from wishful thinking. It was a superpowered chess move. Soviets promised jobs, equality, a new start. But really, it was live here, follow the rules, don't ask. Survival depended on playing along. The GDR didn't happen because everyone wanted it. It was a chess move by 2 superpowers over a broken nation. In 1949, the Soviets announced East Germany with promises of equality, jobs, and a fresh start. Sounds good, until you realize it was less rebirth and more you live here now. Follow the rules, don't ask questions. It became an ideological experiment, and many people tried convincing themselves it could work. Ask yourself, if survival depended on trusting a system you never chose, how long would it take before you played along, even if it felt wrong? The Stasi years. Your neighbor, coworker, maybe even family could snitch on you. That was the Stasi. No high-tech spy gadgets needed. They weaponized people. Trust collapsed. Every word, every glance mattered. Imagine a place where your neighbor's smile could be a report. Your coworker's joke might end up in a file. And even family members could snitch out of fear. That was life under the Stasi. They didn't need high-tech gadgets. They turned people into surveillance tools. Trust broke down. Every whisper counted. And paranoia wasn't paranoia. It was survival. The chilling part? Their files stretch for miles. Your life could be cataloged in someone else's handwriting by people you thought you could trust. Propaganda and life struggles years. Propaganda wasn't just posters. It was comfort wrapped in control. Everyone's equal. Everyone has a job. The West is failing. Meanwhile, queues, empty shelves, and a failing economy. Many still believed anyway. Hope became survival. You'd think propaganda was obvious. Loud posters, big slogans, but the GDR's messaging was sneaky. Control came wrapped in comfort. Everyone has a job. Everyone's equal. The West is falling apart. All with smiling workers and perfect families plastered everywhere. Meanwhile, people queued for basics, factories struggled, and the economy creaked. The twist? many citizens still wanted to believe in the dream. Doubt was dangerous, so hope became survival. It's wild how a society can know the lie and still live inside it. Resistance and escapes ears. People didn't just stay put. Tunnels, balloons, forged passports, checkpoint stunts, real-life thrillers with real risk. Some escaped, many didn't. Freedom was a gamble with everything on the line. Not everyone just stayed put behind the wall. People risked everything, digging tunnels under death strips, sending homemade balloons into the sky, forging passports, or driving through checkpoints in tricked-out cars. Every escape was like a thriller, but real lives were on the line. Some made it, many didn't. Each success inspired more attempts, but every failure tightened the state's grip. So, if freedom was a rumor and escape was life or death, would you risk it? Or convince yourself life behind the wall wasn't so bad? The Berlin Wall ears. Concrete, yes, but a psychological blade. Families split, birthdays missed, lovers trapped. Officials called it protection. People called it a cage. Too many were leaving, so desperation got built into architecture. The wall is famous as a symbol, but few grasp what it did to people's minds. This wasn't just concrete. It was a psychological barrier. Families torn apart overnight. Lovers trapped on opposite sides. Birthdays, funerals, weddings missed. Officials called it a protective barrier. People called it a cage. And here's the kicker. It wasn't built because East Germans hated the West. It was built because too many were leaving. Decline of the GDR. Collapse didn't hit overnight. Economy stalled, black markets thrived, young people tuned out, faith faded. Tiny reforms couldn't save it. Millions realized the dream wasn't coming, and that broke the system from within. Countries don't collapse in a day. They weaken over time. In East Germany, the economy stumbled. Young people tuned in to forbidden Western music. Black markets thrived, and quiet doubt grew. Government reforms were just band-aids. And here's the real point. When people stop believing in the future, the present starts falling apart faster. The GDR didn't fall from one protest. It fell because millions realized the promised dream wasn't coming. The fall of the wall ears. Pictures make it look neat. Truth? Chaos. Rules changed. Guards froze. Crowds surged. History flipped. Freedom had no manual. People ran west to celebrate, cry, reunite, and woke up in a world both familiar and strange. The fall of the wall looks neat in photos. Cheering crowds, sledgehammers, but the reality was chaotic. The government panicked. Rules changed. A spokesperson messed up. Guards froze. And suddenly, history flipped. No script. Pure human emotion. Freedom didn't come with instructions. People surged west to celebrate, shop, cry, reunite, and then woke up in a world that felt both familiar and strange. Liberated, yes, but also unsure what came next. East Germany didn't vanish. Nostalgia, old brands, neighborhoods, scars, they linger. Stasi files, cultural divides, psychological marks, they shaped generations. The wall fell, but the memory never went away. Ears. Even after reunification, East Germany didn't vanish. Its memory lives in old brands, neighborhoods, rhythms of life, what people call nostalgia. Some remember stability, others fear, most a confusing mix. And here's the deeper point. Stasi files, psychological scars, and cultural divides didn't disappear. They shaped generations. Walk through Berlin today, and you can feel where the past bleeds into the present. The wall fell, but the memory of living behind it didn't.